Hello YouTube, this is going to be an actual review, not an unboxing experience review, of the Extractme M.2 NVMe to USB adapter. And here you can see the specs. It's supposed to support USB 3.1 Gen 2, 10 gigabits per second, which roughly should translate to 1 gigabit per second transfer speeds. And I got this off of Amazon for $20.98. And this is what they claim that the drive will look like. And as you can see, it is pretty bare bone. There's no enclosure really. It's just a PCB with a USB connector, and we will take a look at what the drive actually looks like and see how it performs too. So here we have the drive, and as you can see in the picture, it looks pretty much like the way it looks like. And this is the side where you don't connect an M.2 drive. And you can see the USB connector there. It's a standard type A connector. And yeah, let's flip it around and see what it looks like on the other side. And here you can see what the drive looks like on the other side. It is, I have hooked up my Samsung 960 EVO 500 gigabytes to it with the EK Water Blocks heatsink. So as you can see, you just kind of fit it in. Sorry about the blurriness. Let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, so it's pretty nice. The drive comes pre-mounted with one of those distances or washers, I should say, and screws. So basically what you do is you just remove the screw and insert your drive, and then you put the screw back, and then you're basically good to go. And as you can see, this heatsink here, the EK Water Blocks one, is pretty thick, but you can still fit drives with a fairly thick heatsink on it. So I think that's good, because some of those drives, they do get pretty toasty. So that can be a good thing if you have a toasty drive, if you want to mount a heatsink to it to help dissipate heat. And now we will see what it performs like, both with USB 3.0 and USB 3.1. Alright, so on to the performance numbers. First up, we have the USB 3.0 numbers, and I have used the Atto disk benchmark. And as you can see, the minimum transfer speed you can get there is about 14.28 for reads and 14.30 megabytes for write. And then the maximum performance is 443 megabytes for writes and 444.25 megabytes per second for the read speeds. Which I think it probably maxes out the connection. I mean, if you think about it, what this actually is that you have basically a USB stick, USB memory, but with much higher capacity and much higher transfer speeds compared to if you just buy a generic USB memory stick. So it's good for if you have an M.2 NVMe drive laying around that you would like to convert to a USB stick, then this is a good one. But what you have to remember though is that you have to have the ones that have the M key, so that they are only NVMe compatible. You can't stick something that has an A key or a B key or an A plus B key that are the SATA speeds. That won't work. It has to be an NVMe drive. So now we'll take a look at the USB 3.1 Gen 2 speeds. So here we have the performance numbers for the USB 3.1 Gen 2. And as you can see, the minimum transfer speed is 23.26 megabytes per second for write and 23.56 megabytes for read. And going all the way down to the highest performance numbers here, you can see that it tops out at 972.92 megabytes per second for writes and 924.60 megabytes per second for reads. So I would say, I'll just give you a full picture here. There, I would say that it maxes out what's possible for that type of connection, because you got to remember that I connected a Samsung 960 EVO, which when it is connected through NVMe inside your computer, it supports speeds all the way up to 3.2 gigabytes per second. So the drive itself is definitely not the bottleneck here. It is the USB 3.2 or 3.1 Gen 2 speeds. And so I would say that what they claim is actually accurate here. So no issues there really. Now, would I recommend this drive? I think for around $20, it's a good purchase if you already have a drive laying around that you would like to convert to a regular USB memory basically, and you get much faster speeds. So that then you would get from a USB drive. There are probably USB drives that can do these kinds of speed, but at the price point that you're gonna get those USB drives at, you might as well just get an NVMe drive and then stick it into one of those things. The drawback, I would say, is maybe for some people they would like an enclosure. I would imagine that since this has no casing, it's just a bare PCB with a USB connector on it, then you have to be a bit more careful when you handle it, or you might damage the PCB. So that is a drawback for some people, but I prefer the bare bone approach, because then that means that it's much easier to swap the drives if you need to. And also, if you have one of the solutions that does have an actual casing, then you can't use the heat sinks. Like the one that I have, the EK Waterblocks one, you would have to remove that and then use whatever comes with the actual drive. So it all depends on what your needs are. But overall, I would say that it's a good product. It lives up to the expectations, and I would recommend it. $20, really not that bad. Then of course, shipping, handling, and all of that is not included in that price. So depending on where you live, shipping fees and stuff like that might be different. But overall, it's not that expensive. It's certainly less expensive than buying a 500 gigabyte USB stick with those kinds of speeds. So it's a good purchase. So that would be it for this one. Subscribe for more videos of various sorts, and I also make 8-bit music if you're interested in that sort of stuff. I put a link in the video description, so check that out. And like I said, subscribe, tell your friends about the video if you liked it, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.